Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Breathe Motivation. It is Sunday. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. I hope you guys are getting a chance to do whatever you guys want to do. And some of you guys are working. I hope you guys are tuning in and getting some motivation with us. Our goal is to help you find your purpose and passion in everything you do on a day-to-day basis. My name is Anthony Hester. I'm the host and founder of Breathe Motivation. So yesterday we talked about the easy route, right? It's always easy to take the path of least resistance. That's what we want. That's what we're in tune to do, is to take the easy way. So I think sometimes we miss out on great things because we always want to make out to be easy, right? And sometimes, life can be easy, but also at the same time, life is a journey and it's meant to be, kind of a challenge. And that's how we learn and get better and grow even more. So I think it's important for us to understand that and know that we can win no matter what. So let's today play a game. Do you guys like games? I like games. I think they're fun, right? Whether it's sports or whether it's, board games, whatever you want to look at it, games can be fun. Now, there are some games that aren't fun. And I look at life and I'm like, man, the games I can think of are head games, right? Oftentimes we're playing games in our own mind, and I think that they set us up for failure because that's what we're used to, right? So we've got to be able to trick our mind or end up winning the game. And the way to win your game in your head game is to change it, right? So let's start off with the definition. So the definition for today is game, and that's a form of play or sport, especially a competitive one, played according to rules and decided by skill, strength, or luck. So, so I know many of us have played head games with ourselves, right? We're either very positive towards ourselves or we're very negative towards ourselves, but sometimes we lose focus on who is in control. And ultimately we are in control of our mind. And when we look at our lives and where we are today, that's where we're meant to be. And it all depends on what your mind is focused on, right? So when we start to focus on negative things, guess what? In return, a lot of negative things happen. Or we get so fearful of living our lives to the fullest and we start to miss out on things. Or we focus on positives and positive things tend to start working and, different doors start to open for the path that you always wanted, right? But I think it's oftentimes that we have to really overcome, the voices in our heads or the voice, right? And when we look at it, we've got to decide that, hey, whatever I decide to put in my mind is what's going to happen. And we've got to remain focused on changing, any kind of negative thought process, right? It's a challenge. It's a game, right? And that's how I look at it is, I look at it as a game of positive thinking, right? So when I look at positive thinking, I really try to stay focused on what do I want and what do I need to do to really get the things I want, right? It's important for us to really decide that, hey mind, quiet down, right? I've said all these negative things about myself for a majority of my life. It's time for me to be positive. And that's one thing that, I think a lot of people need to do is really evaluate themselves and say, how nice am I to myself? And really look at yourself and, look how you talk to yourself and how you speak to yourself in your mind, right? A lot of the things that you say to yourself, you would never say to anybody else. So why do you continue to tell yourself the bad things or continue to focus on the negative things? A lot of us focus on our past, and really the past is it's a good thing, right? Sometimes is to look at the past and reflect so that we don't do things over that we've made mistakes on, right? Or, a lot of people get stuck in the past and, start to blame themselves for all these things that they could have done or would have done or should have done different, right? Coulda, woulda, shoulda. I think it's important for us to really decide that we are going to get past that point. And that's where most of our head games come from, are, really focusing and staying in our past and looking at our past mistakes and saying, man, I really messed up here. I should have done this, right? I should have gone to college right out of high school. I would have been way further ahead now. And that's the thing. You can't get to that point of, when you're focused on the past, how do you get moving forward? You don't, right? And that's what I struggled with for years, was looking at the past and really looking at, say, hey, man, I wish my situation and my circumstances were better when I got out of high school. My parents got divorced and, I wish I had gone to, college and, I used to think that all the time. It's like, if my parents had stayed together, it would have been better. And it probably wouldn't have been better because of the situation and what it was, right? So we've got to understand that, some of the things that we arrived to and some of the things that happened in the past were lessons to be learned. And, I look back at it now. When I did go to some community college classes when I first got out of high school, and I just wasn't ready. I was kind of burned out of school, and, I was kind of just trying to find who I was and, what I wanted to do. And, I just looked at school and, I was like, I don't want to do this. So I started working hard to, kind of provide for myself because I got my own apartment and I wanted to stay focused on, my growth and development. I thought the best thing for me to do was to work because, my mom was moving to Texas with my brother and, and that was my opportunity that, I didn't want to go to Texas and I didn't want to, live under my parents' roof anymore. I wanted to be able to, become an adult, and maybe sometimes we rush that process and really don't enjoy life growing up. And, but at the same time, that was something that had to be done. I had to work to provide for myself. And, I learned a lot of great lessons. I was, dumb with money and I was dumb with a lot of, stuff. But, I had to look at it, and I look at it as a great learning experience, and I've learned a lot from that. But I don't ever sit back and dwell on the past anymore. And I did that for, my early 20s. I used to say, man, well, what if I'd done this? What if I'd done that? Now, as I'm approaching 30, I'll be 30 and, man, today's the 29th, so the 12th, I'll be 30. And I look back at it and I'm like, man, I learned and grew a lot. And, sometimes I ask myself, man, where did my 20s go? Because it flew by so fast. But in the end, I always look at it and I said, what? I learned, I grew, and I reflect on that. And I continue to reflect on the great things that did happen. And that's what I try to focus on, are the great things that did happen. And, even if there were tough challenges, I look at what was the outcome of them and how did I persevere through these challenges that I had. And I think that's what we have to do, is we got to challenge those perceptions. We got to challenge those thoughts and look at, the solutions that we provided for ourselves. We didn't always stay in hard times, right? None of us have stayed in those hard times. And if you have, you might want to rethink your thinking and really look at how you're focusing on life, right? Our goal is to live on the day-to-day. We're not promised a future. None of us are, right? The only thing that I can do is live the best life I can while I'm alive. And I don't want to, dwell on the past and live in the past, because how do I get better from there? Nothing gets better from living in the past. So we've got to get past that. And we got to stop playing these head games with ourselves and really focusing on all the things that we could have, should have, would have done better. Because we can't. We can't change it, right? The only thing you can change is your behavior. So if you had those same things and you did the same things and you're doing the same thing over and over again, guess what? It's time to change your behavior. It's time to change your mindset and really focus on what you're doing. Because if you do that, your life will get better. It may take some time and it might not be easy, but your life will get better if you start to focus on what you're really in tune with and what you want to accomplish. What do you want to be successful? What do you want to do, right? You want to go to school? Go to school. You want to start your own business? Hey, guess what? Take some action and start your own business. That's the thing. In order for us to be successful in life and find our purpose and find our passion, it is to take action, right? And try new things. If there's something that you want to do or you've always wanted to do, go out and do it. Try to do it. And then maybe you find out it's not for you. And guess what? We get to do something different. But we all have to stop playing head games with ourselves. We got to really stay in control of our mind and live in the present and continue to focus on day to day, right? The day to day is what's going to help us win. That's what's going to create success, and that's how we are going to win. Stop playing head games with yourself. So let me leave you this quote: just play, have fun, enjoy the game. And that's Michael Jordan. So go out there, do whatever you want, right? If you want to go do something, take action and do it. Enjoy your life, enjoy the journey. Sit back and, and take action. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. It is a fun ride. And I think sometimes we get so caught up in all the things that we could, should, and would have done better. But guess what? We're going to get better today, and that's all that matters. So if you get better, a little bit better each day, guess where you'll be in a couple of years, right? Or a couple months or a week, right? Things will always get better. So follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Breathe Motivate. Check out our website, breathemotivation.com. You can see our podcast. You can see some blogs on there. You can see some social media. You can connect with us on there. My email is anthonyhester@breathemotivation.com. I'd love to hear from you guys. And As always, remember to breathe motivation and exhale success. I will see you tomorrow on Monday. Thanks.